What's up everybody and welcome to the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric and today we are talking all about barefoot boots. We've got 8 different boots across 5 different brands that we're going to be comparing for you, and we are super excited about it. Barefoot boots are such an interesting concept because when it comes to barefoot shoes, you want as little between you and the elements as possible. But then winter comes, you want to protect your feet from the cold, and boots seem to be the natural answer. And where those lines blur of what's barefoot and what's not, Chris and I have been grappling with all winter long, and hopefully this will be able to give you a guide and give you some answers as to those questions. We want all of you to figure out from this video which barefoot boot is going to be best for your feet throughout the winter. Everybody's feet are a little bit different, so we don't think that there is a one size fits all, but we do hope that this information will help you to find what's going to be best for your situation. Now, we do have affiliate links for most of these brands down in the description of the video. We would really appreciate it if you would go and check out those links. If there's a boot on here that piques your interest and you want to go see it, then use the link down there to get to the website. If you do end up making a purchase from one of those links, just know we do get a small commission from that at no extra cost to you, but it does help us out a lot. It puts more gear into our hands, and then we get more reviews out to all of you. So without further ado, we'll send it over to Chris to start us off.
The first boot I'm going to be talking about is one of the most recent boots that we have reviewed on the channel, and that is the Freet Tundra. The Tundra comes in at the mid-range of 160 USD and one of the thinnest barefoot boots we used this fall and winter, coming in at a stack height of 11 millimeters. It is also one of the lightest on the list at 11.8 ounces. The faux leather microfiber material proved to be substantial enough to go 200 plus miles at my delivery job, while keeping my feet comfortable, warm enough with the right socks, connected to the ground, and dry. We love the width of the toe box and also found the 4mm lug pattern to be fantastically grippy. 2 things to watch out for with this model is the lack of waterproofing. You don't want to be crossing any rivers or streams in these, and also they may possibly be too thin for hard use depending on where you fall on the barefoot adaptation spectrum. If you are newer to barefoot shoes, these might not be the hikers you're looking for. But if you want a mixture of thin and rugged, the Tundra may be exactly what you're looking for.
The first boot that I'm going to be talking about is the Xero Shoes Ridgeway. The Xero Shoes Ridgeway would be the barefoot purist's dream rugged hiking boot, if not for a few missteps. At only 140 USD, it's one of the least expensive boots on our list, and we do think that it performs well enough to provide a lot of value for those looking for a barefoot experience on the trail. Made out of canvas and suede, weighing only 13 ounces and with only 12 millimeters of stack height, boasting a flawless waterproof membrane, these have proven able to protect your feet from the elements while letting you feel as close to nature as possible while wearing a boot. The insole leaves a lot to be desired. Perforated to a fault, it leaves the boot feeling like it's full of dirt or sand all the time, which caused some blistering on the bottom of my foot during a steep and difficult hike. We also found the traction to be lacking some, but if you're in the market for a good-looking, budget-friendly, and foot-healthy hiking boot, these are hard to pass up.
The next boot I want to talk about is the Lems Outlander. 2 of the Lems models we are featuring in this video have the thickest stack height at 20.5 millimeters, and the Outlander is one of them. Coming in at 190 USD, the Outlander is on the heavier side of the spectrum at 14.7 ounces. The mixture of leather and nylon give it a rugged and classic hiker vibe at the same time, and because of its use of rubber supports at the toe and heel, this is probably the most rugged boot on the list. I have a pair that have over 2,000 miles of delivery work on them at this point and are still going strong as my cold weather yard work boots. They are fully waterproof, and because the use of leather is minimal, these will go strong for years without too much upkeep. It also features one of our favorite and most effective tread patterns to date, giving you maximum confidence as you ascend and descend during your next adventure. If we had to knock the Outlander for anything, it would be the somewhat rigid construction and a slightly lacking toe box. However, we found both of these features to break in and become more pleasant with use. The Outlander was my first pair of barefoot boots and continues to be one of my favorite to this day. If you're looking for the most hard use barefoot boot on this list, this may be it.
And now I will be talking about the Lems Boulder Boot Grip. The wildly popular Lems Boulder boot got another upgrade this year, and being the awesome listeners that they are, Lems gave the boot some updates the fans have been asking for a long time. Lacing hooks and a great grippy outsole are just a few of the features that make this shoe the Goldilocks boot of the barefoot world. Almost everything about it seems to be not too much here or too little there, it's just right. At 16 millimeters of stack height and weighing in at 14 ounces, we think this boot has just enough weight and ground feel to call it barefoot, while also providing enough underfoot protection to make it a serious contender on the trail. With a full grain leather and a fully waterproof membrane, your feet will feel good and look good, even in the worst conditions. The new fully rubber outsole with its unique cutouts make the boot very grippy in wet and slippery conditions and keep it crazy flexible. We love the look of this boot and think that it fits just as well dressed up for church as it does hiking. At $180 USD, we think this feature-rich boot is well worth the price, as it boasts a tough-to-match versatility, hitting all the marks of a barefoot boot just right.
Next on the list for me is the Bearfoot Bruin. The Bruin is a truly unique offering for this list. The dense but grippy and relatively thin 15 millimeter sole and the whopping 1 pound, 10.6 ounce weight makes it an absolute bruiser. Constructed mainly of crazy horse and mestizo leather, the main idea of this boot is hard use and longevity, the latter being particularly important considering the hefty $250 price point. I think this boot is relatively niche, made to be used on long, tough, blue-collar days, but can also shine in outdoor recreational uses. My wife, hand-selecting it for our family pictures, also says something to its versatility. Though the materials are rugged and water-resistant enough to stand up to medium rain and snow, we wouldn't recommend drenching it unless you like wet feet or you've treated it with a waterproofing finish of some kind. This boot definitely has the widest toe box on the list, and I found it to be very nice for my line of blue collar work. If the $250 price point has you turning your nose up to the Bruin, one thing to note is that it is resolable and will likely last you a decade or more if you take good care of it. Before I pass things over to Eric to go over the next pair of boots, I wanted to mention some affiliates, which are all the companies that we're talking about today. We think they all have fantastic offerings, and all of them have affiliate links down in the description, except for one. I'm not going to tell you which one that is. There will be a link for them as well. It just won't be an affiliate link. We don't want to bias you against them for any kind of reason, because we think that all of these offerings are pretty good, although we do have our opinions which ones we think are the best, and we'll give those more towards the end of the video. But again, if you're interested in any of these offerings, links down in the description. That does give kickbacks to the channel and helps us out a lot when it comes to obtaining more gear to review on the channel. I also want to mention an affiliate that would pair well with all of these, and that is Creepers Toe Socks. This card will take you over to a video we did where we compared 7 different brands of toe socks, and the Creepers came out on top. We love Creepers for hiking. We love Creepers for running. I'm wearing Creepers right now just to do stuff around the house. They have become our go-to toe sock. If you're interested in checking out Creepers Toe Socks, head down to the link in the description. There will also be a discount code down there for you to use if you decide to pick some up. Now, I'm going to pass things back over to Eric to continue on with the video.
All right, next up from me is the Feelgrounds Patrol Winter. If you're looking to continue your barefoot experience throughout the winter, but want to keep your feet as warm as possible, look no further. The Fieldground Patrol Winter is easily the warmest boot on our list, and what's impressive is it's also one of the most minimal. At only 13 millimeters of stack height, it does an amazing job insulating your feet while allowing them to flex, splay, and move as they should. Made out of faux leather, weighing only 14.7 ounces, and fully waterproof, their $160 price tag is worth the feature-rich experience you get with this boot. Looking very good for semi-formal down to casual attire, the only downside we found with them was their trail performance, though they aren't really advertised as a hiker anyways. Even with that in mind, their traction does a good job on wet or slippery terrain. This is the most suited barefoot boot for the winter, though that does pigeonhole it some to the coldest months of the year, as it might prove too warm even during the shoulder seasons.
The last boot I'm going to be presenting today is the Lems Boulder Summit. The Boulder Summit is our second 20.5 millimeter stack height boot, sharing that fantastic outsole and tread pattern that it inherited from the Outlander. One of the fun things about it is your ability to choose different materials and 3 different colorways. This $185 boot comes in fully waterproof gray nylon as well as black or brown full grain leather, and is just a hair heavier than the Outlander at 14.8 ounces. This boot takes versatility to another level with the ability to take you from hardcore mountaintop uphill both ways hiking to a cold weather Sunday, white shirt and tie with chinos at church. While we think Lems could do to lessen the stack height on this model to enhance the ground feel a bit, this is probably our top pick for versatility, topping out its rugged ability while not neglecting the potential to go formal. If you're looking for a barefoot boot that does it all, the Boulder Summit may be your answer.
All right, next up is the Lems Primal Pursuit Waterproof Mid. At only $145 USD, the Primal Pursuit Mid hiking boot is a tough bargain to beat. The boot is only 11.8 ounces and is made of easy to clean suede and air mesh. It has 18.5 millimeters of stack height and is fully waterproof, and with its aggressive and grippy lugs, it does a really good job on the trail. As far as style goes, this one is definitely unique and lends itself to the consumer looking for casual wear on and off the trail. We found it to perform surprisingly well stacked up against Lems' other more serious hiking boots, and especially appreciated how light it felt compared to the others. If you're on a budget and looking to transition into barefoot shoes, these would be a great starting point. Zero drop, wide toe box, easy to clean and fully waterproof. These look cool on the town and perform well for easy up to fairly difficult hiking conditions. So if I have to choose one boot out of this amazing lineup that we have to be the winner, I'm gonna pick the Lems Boulder Boot Grip. I love this boot. As the owner of the original waterproof Boulder boot, all that I wanted from that thing was a better outsole. And for them to give us this outsole that performs really, really well was super exciting. As I mentioned in my little rundown of the boot, I think it's kind of just the Goldilocks of the barefoot boots. I think that the stack height on it isn't too little or too much. I think it's just right. You still get some ground feel, you still get lots of flexibility, but you do get enough protection that you can take it on some pretty difficult trails, and I really appreciate that. I think that the looks are awesome too. I think it looks great out on the trail, but you can definitely dress this thing up, and that gives it a ton of value as a versatile product where I can wear it almost anywhere that I want. I also like that Lems was listening to the consumer and added those hook eyelets for the laces. The hooks, for me, it's kind of a non-issue. I don't care either way. I just like the fact that they were listening and that they gave that update on this version of the boot. So for me, it is the waterproof Boulder Boot Grip. And now back over to Chris so that he can close out the video.
Wrapping things up, I want to give you my final opinion of which of these boots wins for me. This is so difficult because they're all pretty different. Hopefully you gleaned that from the video, but I find that I love each one for different reasons. For me, I've narrowed it down to two boots that I really, really like, and one is the Nitro Boulder Summit from Lems, and the other is the Outlander from Lems. Now, if I had to pick one and only one, I would go with the Outlander, and the reasoning is how ridiculously rugged this thing is while still maintaining all of the barefoot features that are important to me. It's zero drop, has a relatively wide toe box. If you don't think the toe box is wide enough or that the material is too rigid, it does break in over time and becomes really nice on foot. The minimal use of leather and mostly relying on nylon means that you'll be able to keep this thing going with little to no maintenance for a good long time. I love the tread pattern. We have rubberization at the toe and the heel that just kind of blows the ruggedness of the Summit out of the water. And the real way I make this decision is thinking of an unrealistic scenario, but possible. My family is trying to leave the house in a hurry during an emergency. I can only choose one pair of shoes to get me through the next possibly 3 to 6 months or longer. Maybe this is the last pair of shoes I'll ever have the luxury of choosing for myself. I'm going to pick the Outlander every time. I am a preparedness person, so I've already mentally made that decision. One of the things on my checklist before leaving the house during an emergency is to slip on my Outlander. So this is the overall winner for me. I think it's the most versatile. I think it's the most rugged, and I've loved it since the first time I ever put it on. Folks, we hope that this video was helpful for you in your barefoot boot research. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, and we would appreciate a comment as well. All of that engagement really helps the channel grow. If you're interested in getting the most up-to-date content from us, make sure to follow along with us on Instagram and Strava especially, where we are posting more details about our hikes, our workouts, and the gear that we're using during all of those things. We are starting to create a cool little outdoor community on Strava. Make sure to check out the links in the description. There are more companies down there than just shoe companies. If you're looking for fantastic outdoor gear, we appreciate your view. We're glad you're here. And as always, we will catch you in the mountains.